Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to be back in this room after 4 years. I think 4 years was the last time I was here. Robin has given me this tricky title, but perhaps also how it intersects, or social alienation, perhaps, or disadvantage, how it intertwines with the built heritage of the city, and in particular the area of the city in which I live, in the North Georgian core, particularly the area around Mountjoy and Parnell Squares. I'm also secretary of the Mountjoy Square Residents Group. So we see, I suppose, firsthand the many of the pressing issues that face inner urban historic neighbourhoods. In particular, I think what was interesting in our group is that we effectively act as citizen planning consultant. We have unique skills in our residents group of architecture, planning and conservation, and we engage in the democratic planning processes almost on a weekly basis, whether it's in national strategy, whether it's individual planning applications, and other strands that we engage with. Robin has dredged up really amazing statistics, as has our residents group. The Mountjoy and the Rotunda wards combined have the highest population density in the entire state, which is really remarkable when you consider the landscape of 4 or 5 story Georgian buildings and apartment blocks. It shows that you don't need large, hostile, expensive towers to get a good density in the centre of the city. Equally is perhaps a reflection of the small standard, of the small scale, and perhaps the low quality of accommodation that also exists in the area. But the three strands that we engage on a national level with policy. I think it's interesting when Bus Connects proposed to funnel a huge quantum of buses down Gardner Street. Mary Laheen, in our group, an architect, drills through the census figures. On the route of Gardner Street from Dorset Street down to the Custom House, there is 5,000 people living on Gardner Street in blocks and Georgian houses fronting onto that street, the population of an Irish town. It's staggering. And yet the voice and the political constituency that they have, particularly in relation to spatial planning, is minuscule relative to their size. So I suppose the two strands that we particularly focus on is planning applications in the area. We desperately want to see investment, particularly high-quality residential investment. So we comment and observe constructively. We try to push quality in applications for Georgian houses, for apartments to the rear of Georgian buildings. Generally, we find that, unfortunately, applications are of lowest common denominator standard almost across the board. And our observations in simply citing policy is all we do, cite development plan policy, and John O'Hara is going to talk about the primacy of the development plan. We find City Council planners and conservation officers very much support our constructive comments in reciting the policy suite back to them. It's quite effective of an internationally significant Georgian landscape, and particularly for the residents and the quality of the environment that our residential population deserve. And then just very finally, I suppose, on SPPRs, and the new policy landscape that's been created over the past 5 or 6 years, our concern also in Dublin Civic Trust is that it's created a very inequitable situation where these large-scale, modern, lower quality residential developments have a much more advantageous policy delivery platform than smaller scale development, or indeed the entire extant city when it comes to converting existing buildings and the building regulations and standards that rightly apply in that case. And also the engine of regenerating Georgian areas, which is the building of news buildings and apartment buildings to the rear of Georgian buildings. These do not benefit from the same lower standards that are being pushed by SHDs or by SPPRs. So we need a rebalancing of the landscape to attract high quality investment into the historic core of the city for high quality residential development in particular. So that's my topic.